Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Ajay, your computer teacher, and today we are going to learn about the file handling. That was the next part, and that is how to write onto a file, and that is what we have to look for. So last session we have seen how to read the data from a file and then how we can perform the operations. So let us understand how to write a text data onto a file. So for that also we require a file pointer or file handler. You can give any name to the file handler, and then I will open a file. That is, I'll simply give a name, sample.txt. This is the file that I want to open, and the mode that I'm going to use this time is going to be the W mode, which means I'm going to open this file in write mode. Now please understand that in the previous tutorial we had opened a file that was story.txt and that was in read mode. Whenever you open a file in read mode, it is important that the file should exist. If the file does not exist, it is going to throw an exception. In simple language, it is going to throw an error. So the file should exist if you're trying to open a file in read mode. This particular file, that is sample.txt, does not exist. And I'm using this mode, that is the W mode. Now, when you try to open a file which is in W mode, and if the file does not exist, it is going to create the file. So this particular mode will basically create a file with the name sample.txt in your current folder that you're working in. So this particular statement will basically create a file sample.txt, and then we can write data onto this file using two functions. Now there are two functions. First is the write function and the second is writelines function. So first is the write function. So simple, I can use the file pointer, file underscore pointer dot, and I will simply say the method, that is write, and I will pass a text, that is this is a sample text. That's it. And one thing that we forgot to do in the previous tutorial, that was to close the file. So it is very important that you also close the file. In case if you don't close it, the program gets terminated, the file will be closed anyway. But it is a good practice that you have to use the statement whenever all your job is done. Make sure you use the statement, that is the close method, for closing the file. Now, what we will do is we are going to run this program. Let us just try to run this, save this program first. I will give the name like test.py. That's it. And now let us run this program. And you can see there is no output. There is no output to display, in fact. Why? Because this particular program is just going to create a file with sample.txt, and it is going to write this particular text into the file, and then it is going to close. So we are not using any print statement out here. Just for the sake of the user, we can give a print statement like before the write operation. That is the message that will get printed. And over here, we can give a print statement that the data has been written onto the file. and then we will close the data. Now, if I run this again, we will have two print statements. So there is two messages that we're going to have before the write operation, and the data has been written onto the file. Now, to exactly see the output of this particular program, what we need to do is we need to open the current folder, and we need to search for the file that is sample.txt. As I told you that if you try to open this file in write mode, and if the file does not exist, it is going to create the file. So over here, let us try to find the file that is sample.txt. So over here, these are the Python files. I will go for the text files, and then I will search for sample. And you can see over here, there is one file that is sample. And if you open this, you can see this is the file that got created, that is sample.txt, and this is the data onto the file. So this is the output actually. So over here, the output we are not going to get on the screen unless and until you actually print the data of the file onto the screen. We are going to see the output whether that particular data has been written in the file or not. So we have to open the file and we have to see whether the data has actually gone to the file or not. And then we can say, yes, the program has run successfully. So over here, you can see that we have created a file that is sample.txt. And this is the text that we have written onto the file. So this is a successfully, we have written this, the program has got executed. So now at this point, I will just remove these print statements. So this was the first step, how to write the data onto the file. Now next is, what if I use this statement again? I'll copy this and I paste it over here. Now what exactly will be the output of this particular program? Now there are two lines. This is a sample data. Now I will change this data over here and I will say this is the first line. And over here, I will say this is the second line. I will copy this. This is the second line. What exactly will be the output of this particular program? So maybe you think, or you might be thinking that we are going to have two lines. That is the first line, and then below that, the second line. But this is not going to happen. If you run this particular program, and as I said, now we have to check the output. We have to open the file that is sample.txt. So let us just find the file that is sample, and over here it is. And you can see the output is, this is the first line. And again, from here, the second line started. So this is because of the file pointer. When we write the data onto the file, for example, this particular line was written onto the file, and then the file pointer is pointing to the end of the file. And then if we use the next statement, that is the write method, and if we try to write any line, it will continue from that particular position where it has ended. So the file pointer was at the end of the line, so it started writing the next line just from the next position. So to avoid this, what we can do is, if you want that this should come to the next line, so simple, you can just use /n. So /n is an escape character. So this is not going to get, I mean, this is something that will come to the next line. So you will not see /n onto the file. So /n over here and over here. Now, if you run this particular program, and now let us see the output. Just a minute. Now let us just see the output over here, and you can see this is the first line, and then there was one /n, and this is the second line. So we have come to the second line. So if you want that after every line, and after that, if you write anything else after that, you're adding some more text, so it should come to the next line, you can just add a /n to the end of the line. So this is how you can use the write method. And over here, please understand how the file pointer works. So after writing the first line and there was no /n, so the file pointer basically points at the end of the line, and then if you try to write any other data, it will just start from that particular position itself. It is not going to automatically come to next line. For that, you have to use this special character, that is /n, so that the file pointer comes to the next line and then it starts writing. So this is about the write method that we have learned. And then second we have is the write lines. For write lines, we have to use a list, and in that list you have to provide all the lines. For example, I will use this as the first element of the list. So this will be the first element, then comma, and then I will copy this, and this will be the second element of the list. And then I don't have to use two times, I don't have to use this write line. Simply I will pass, first I will make this as write lines. So this is the method, and then I have to simply pass the list. So if I pass the list, these two lines will be written onto the file, and over here also you have to pass this /n if you want that every line should come to the next line. So make sure after every line you have this /n. Now, if you run this particular program and see the output, we're going to get exactly the same output over here that we saw before. And that is, there are two lines, one after the other over here. So this is the output. Now, what we're going to do is, we have learned about the write method and the write line methods. So please understand, if you want that there should be multiple lines, if you want to write, you can store them into a list and then simply use the write lines method and pass that particular list. So this is how we can do it. Now the something that we have missed out, and that is whenever we write the data onto the file, for example, if I pass only one element, that is only one line. And now if I run this particular program, and if you see the output of this particular program, and that is, just open the file, that is a text file, and this is the sample data, sample.txt, and you can see that the previous data has lost. So this is because whenever we open a file in the write mode, that is in the W mode, the previous data will get lost if the file exists. If the file exists, the previous data will get lost, and the new data that you are writing onto the file, that data will be written onto the file. And if the file anyway does not exist, it will get created. Now, what if I want that the previous data should get retained? So in that case, what you're supposed to do is, in spite of W, you're supposed to use A. A means append. Append means the previous data will be retained, and the new data that you write onto the file will be followed by that. Means first the previous data, and then whatever you have writing onto the file, it will come after that. So now, if I write this particular run, if I run this particular program, and let us see the output now. Now this I'm opening in append mode. Okay, so we have done. Now let us open the file and see the output. That is the text files and the sample, and you can see the previous line, that is this is the first line, is as it is, and again we have run the same code with the same line. So we can see after that followed the next line. So if you want to retain your data, the previous data, all you need to do is you're supposed to open the file in A mode, that is the append mode. So this is how you can retain your previous data. Now we have learned how to open the file in write mode. We have also learned how to use the write method, write lines, and how to maintain the previous data. So with this particular features, what we can do is we can maintain the data of, for example, for students, we can accept data for students and store that in a file. And then it is permanently stored in the file unless and until you delete that. So next day, whenever you open the file, or you're just running the program, adding some more data through your program, so that data will be stored in that file permanently. So let us do something, that is how to store data of an entity, for example, of an object, for example, a student or a teacher. So we want to maintain all the basic information of a student. So how you're going to do that? So what we're going to do is we're going to write some program over here. That is, I'll give a print statement, and the message that I'm going to print is enter student name. That is the first message. In fact, I should be using, that is, student name is equal to, and then the input function, and simply I will pass the message that enter student name. That is the message. And then I will take some few basic informations, that is student name, student roll number, class, section, and one more, that is we will go for student registration number. So over here I'll change the messages, that is registration number, and over here I will say that is name as it is, over here the student class, and over here the student section. Okay, over here I'll give the roll number student, then the roll number. Over here I'll give the class, and over here I'll give the section. And then what I'm going to do is, okay, I need this variables also, that is student name, this is student, I'll change the variable names. So this is registration number, name, and this is roll number, and this is the class, and this is section. So these are the variables that I've created. And yes, you can accept data in all the data that we are trying to accept over here will be in text form. You can accept the data in number form also, so that you can do some validations whether the user has entered the right data or not. For example, if you try to accept this as a string, so user can give string also, but that is a altogether different topic, that is about validations. So you have to give proper checks whether the student whether the user has entered number or not. So that is a different thing. Over here I'm just trying to tell you how to write this data onto the file, maintain a record. And at this point I am accepting everything in form of a string. So this is the data that I'm accepting. And then what you need to do is we can use write also, or write lines also. Right now I'm using the write method, and then what I'm doing is I'm going to pass this, that is registration number over here, and then I'm going to say plus and a tilde sign. This is a tilde sign just above your tab key. There is a tab key, caps lock, then above caps lock there is a tab, above tab there is a tilde key. You can also give comma, no issues. Let us keep comma at this point. Then plus. Now what we are doing, we are joining the strings over here, right? Then I will give roll number, and then we will join the next comma. So what exactly I'm doing out here is I'm separating the fields with this comma character. So two fields will get separated by this comma character. Then plus, again I'm joining to that is the student. Okay, I just forgot the student name, so I will say student name, and then we had, that is roll number comma plus, that is class, again a comma plus. So we are joining this all these strings. Okay, and then comes the section. After section, make sure you join that with a slash n. This is very important. So what exactly we are doing over here, we are taking that registration number. It is anyway in string form. In case if this is in number form, you have to convert this into string, and then we can join that with the other strings. So this is the registration number plus, and then there is one comma. Then comes the student name and again a comma, roll number, comma, class, comma, section, and then next line. This is very important. And then we are closing the file. Now let us just open this file with W mode. I want that the previous data should get erased. And let us run this program and see the output. I hope everything is running fine. Okay. Enter student registration number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Name is Ajay. Roll number is 1. Class is 12. And section is A. And that's it. There is no error. So hopefully the program has run successfully. And what we will do is close this and go to, that is, open the file, go to that particular text file and see the sample file. And you can see we have successfully written the data onto the file. So this first entity, or not entity, a token or a field. So that is the registration number separated by the comma, and then the name of the student, then separated by a comma. This is the roll number, this is the class, and this is the section. So this is how we are going to store data. Now, students, understand one thing: these fields that we are separating all these fields with a comma character, isn't it? So this particular character, or any character by which we separate the fields, will be called as delimiter. So this is a delimiter character by which we separate the fields, delimiter. That is the name. We can have comma, or we can have the tilde sign. The tilde sign is because children, normally nobody uses that sign. It is possible that you give some name and then the user can give a comma also, so then there will be a confusion. So always use the tilde sign, because nobody normally uses this sign, and a programmer is not supposed to tell you, the users, about what are the hidden secrets of your software. So if you use a tilde sign, then there will be a bug, right? So you're not supposed to disclose all this. So this is running successfully. And now, if I really want a feature where I want to accept n number of records, then how will you do it? So the first thing that I'm going to do now is make this file as the append, and then simply I can use a while loop, and while loop, and then inside that I can give a print statement, enter students records, something of that sort. In fact, this also, okay, this is the print statement, and then I will say after, okay, this I'll make it as the indentation, bring everything inside the loop. So this loop will go on, and if I want that this should break, then in that case I will take a value from the user, that is input or int of input, enter 1 to continue, and if it is 0, then the program will terminate. And over here I will say if n is equal to 1. So if it is 1, then this will go on again. And then this is very important, every time we take the data, we write the data onto the file. Now let us just run this. I hope that this does not go in an infinite loop. I hope everything I've done right. So if it is 1, then it will run. Let us run this program now. And there is an invalid syntax, that is the closing bracket. So now we will run the program, and name is not defined. So name is not defined. Let me just check this. Student name, everything is fine. Sample.txt, while records and input. Okay, let me just run this. If there's any error, we'll get rid of it. Do not worry. So while n is equal to, okay, that variable n is not defined. So I will say n is equal to 1, and this should solve the problem. And now let us run this program. That is, enter registration number, that is 2, 3, 4, and 5, or 2355. Name is Vijay. Then roll number is 12. Class is also 12. Then section is A. And enter 1 to continue. I will enter 0. I don't want to continue. The program has terminated. And now let us just check the file, that is sample.txt. And you can see successfully we have written the second record also. So this is the new record that we have written onto the file. So this is how we can write data onto a file. So I hope you have understood this tutorial. Using this, we can also develop our projects. So I'm ending this session over here, and in the next session, then we will take some hidden secrets, how to write the data as well as read the data, and there are some other programming tricks that we need to use for actually developing a project. So I'm signing off for now, and we will, let's see, I will try to arrange some session related to the project. So bye everyone.